Good morning, all. Today we have gathered here for a FDP on the topic change management in education sector. So first of all, welcome all the participants who have joined us and our directors are Mr. James and guest for the day, Mr. H. Pereira. So it's our honor to have our guest for the day today. And this FDP, morning, sir. So this FDP we have organized because nowadays things are changing very fastly. We are we are passing through a pandemic. A lot of things have changed last 4 months onwards, and in fact March onwards, things have changed. We have to live in a different style of living. We are maintaining social distancing, and the methodology of teaching also has to be changed. So the main purpose will be in of this FDP is to discuss how we will be going forward after this pandemic or during this pandemic also. So what will be the future of the education? How will it will perform? How will connect? So on and so forth. So there are many challenges in this also. So we will be talking about the challenges of this new system of education and what are the solutions for that. Of course, for any challenges we have some solutions. So we'll talk about challenges and we'll talk about the solutions also. There are positives of new style of teaching and there are some negatives also. So those negatives, how to minimize, that also will be discussed. Government has also issued many new guidelines for teaching. So following those guidelines, the new era will start, and in fact already has started. Most of us, we are trying to acclimatize ourselves, learning that way. Students also has to adapt to the new way of teaching and learning. So we need to change very fast to the new era. For that also we'll be discussing what all will be doing that. So what will be the effective teaching way, that will be the discussion point. So over the next 5 days we'll be talking what changes has taken place, why it has to be done, and the ways to go forward to make it more effective. It will be a interactive session. We will have different guests on different days. All 5 days we'll call some different guests. Our director sir and myself also will be pitching in almost all the programs. We'll be also giving our contribution, and we will also be talking to you on a particular day. So let me just tell you the whole schedule. Today we have with us Mr. H. Pereira. He will be talking about his experience and his suggestion about the topic as on today. Tomorrow we will have Miss Lavina Roy and Dr. Benny Jose Palati. They both of them will be taking the session tomorrow, and we can interact with them. They will be giving their valuable suggestions, and of course there will be an open house also. On every day, we'll try to have an open house in the evening, in the end of the session, so that you can ask questions. On 29th, myself will be talking to all of you. My name is Dr. Prafulla Ranjan. I am the Dean of MBA in IIMT. On 30th, we have Professor Dr. Colonel K.N. Chaube. He will be taking the session. And on the concluding day, we will have the privilege of listening to our Honorable Director, Professor Dr. Saju K. James. And that day we'll have a closing ceremony, and maybe we'll discuss the the whole thing, the whole summary of the program. So now I'll request our Honorable Director, sir, to introduce the guest and declare the program open. So over to Dr. James.
Thank you, Dr. Prafulla Ranjan, the Dean MBA of IIMT Group of Colleges. A very good morning to one and all attending this FDP program. First of all, I would like to congratulate the MBA team of IIMT Group of Colleges, Greater Noida, for selecting the topic Change Management in Education Sector for this 5 days long faculty development program. There is nothing permanent except change. The only constant is change. Change is inevitable. Change is inevitable. And change can either be forced upon us or created by ourselves. I'm repeating, change can either be forced upon us or created by ourselves. While we are discussing on the changes, it can happen to the individuals, the family, an organization, for the whole country, the entire world, the entire human being. So now we are going through such a situation where the entire world has been affected due to the pandemic situation. On March 19, 2020, our Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi ji has announced 21-day nationwide lockdown. And the lockdown kind of situation is continuing even after 4 months. And the number of COVID patients are increasing day by day. All of us are in struggle. The entire world, the country, the family, the organizations, the individuals, all are in trouble. Because it is the first time that the entire human being is facing such a pandemic situation. Of course, earlier we faced the epidemic as well as endemic situations, but now we are going through a pandemic situation. All are struggling. There are many cases of suicide. And many people died on their way back to home. They don't know what to do. They are struggling because it is the first time they face such a situation. And of course, we have faced a similar kind of situation in our country. That was on November 8, 2016. On that day at 8 p.m., our Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji gave a surprise address to the nation, saying he wants to make a special request to Indian citizens. As of midnight on that day, Modi ji said, all rupees 500 and rupees 1000 notes would no longer be valid currency. Up to a certain extent, we can say everyone struggled. Everyone struggled. But now, after this COVID situation, we are struggling much higher compared to that situation at the time of the demonetization. So along with all sectors, whether the corporate sector, the education sector too affected so severely. Exams postponed, results postponed, admissions postponed, academic sessions postponed. The education institution, they are struggling. And many of the institutions have taken a decision to minimize the salary of the faculty members, because there are certain situations that even the institution, they doesn't know how to do or what to proceed, how to proceed further. And that is affecting the individuals and of course, the families. So once again, I'm congratulating the MBA team. And I'm declaring that the FDP session open. So it is my pleasure to introduce the resource person of the day, Mr. Hadrin H. Pereira. He's a management professional with 20 years of work experience in academic and corporate sector. He has academic experience in HR management with Christ Deemed University, Ghaziabad, the off-campus of Christ Deemed University, Bangalore. And the corporate experience in talent acquisition and training and development with Celebi Delhi Cargo of GMR Group, New Delhi, SIR Group, the Luminous Inverter Company, Gurgaon, FCS Software Solutions, Noida, and Convergys, Gurgaon. He was a head of Center for Corporate Relations of Asia Pacific Institute of Management, New Delhi, and at present, he is working as a corporate trainer.
I think there is some technical glitch. Just bear with us for 2 minutes. Dr. Sir will come back. Yeah, sir, you can continue.
A very good morning to one and all present today. I'm glad and grateful to the management of IIMT College of Engineering, especially Dr. Saju and Dr. Ranjan for giving me this opportunity today. The topic that has been given is change management in education sector. I would like to start with a short story, which I'm sure most of you would have heard it. This is the story about a hat seller and the monkeys. The hat seller goes on its daily course to sell his hat. So during the lunch, he feels hungry. He takes his lunch beneath the tree. Now what happens is after taking the lunch, he feels drowsy. He thought of taking a power nap. So he sleeps. After 1 hour, he realizes all the hats that he had kept beneath the tree is vanished. Unfortunately, when he wakes up, he finds all the hats has been worn by the monkeys on the tree. So this person is little worried how he will get his hat back. So what he does is, the hat that he was having, he had one hat, he throws that hat on the monkeys. And the monkeys in turn throws back all the hats they were wearing on this hat seller. In a way, he was able to succeed in getting in hats back and was happy. So this is one part of the story. Going forward, probably one of his grandson, the hat seller's grandson, he again is into the same profession. And he again goes cities, states, selling the hats that he prepares by his hand. During the lunchtime, he again does the same thing. He wants to take his lunch and he dozes off. So he dozes off, and once he wakes up, it's the same story. He finds none of the hats that he had kept aside him is there. And he realizes all the hats have been worn by the monkeys on the tree. Now he thinks what he could do. So he realizes probably his grandfather days. So he did the same thing. He threw the one of the hat that he was having onto the monkeys that were on the tree. But this time the monkeys didn't throw back the hat. So he was wondered. He figured out what went wrong. He tried to ask question to the monkey. Come on, monkeys. You people are known, or you creatures are known to copy things, what humans do. But you, this time you didn't throw back the hats. So now what has happened was one of the monkey, obviously you need to visualize, it replied stating even we have grandfathers. So this is exactly what has happened today. Yesterday's procedures might not work today. Neither today's procedure will work tomorrow due to changing dynamics. So when we talk and look and able to understand the monkey's movement, now monkey has developed like humans, and that is a kind of change that is happening to the dynamics today. So when we talk about the change management, there is a vast change that has happened globally. Dr. Saju sir was referring, is it the force change, or we are forced by maybe the internal pressure of the management, or maybe by the environment. I'm sorry for the technical glitch. I believe I'm audible.
Yeah, yes. Sir. Yeah, continue, sir. We can hear you.
All right. Yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you. So keeping in mind the monkey and the hat seller story, I'd like to talk about the first key change model was developed by Kurt Lewin. He started with his 3 steps of change, wherein he spoke about unfreezing, changing, and refreezing. Kurt Lewin, most of you would have known, he was a German American psychologist who had proposed the process of change that entails creating the perception that is a change is actually needed, and then moving towards the change and the desired level of behavior, and finally solidifying the new behavior as the new norm. That is what we hear today, the new normal. The question that arises, are we really ready for the change? Is it really the need of the hour? Or we are forced to change, or else we become dinosaurs who didn't change with time and cease to exist today. So do we really have the flexibility to change? So that's again a question that come up in a lot of minds today. Was switching to online learning a necessity, or did we really plan for this change? And how quick we are able to adapt to this change? Well, today's philosophy stands as change is learning and learning is change. When this decision is taken in education sector, it impacts teachers, students, parents,
There are some technical issues. Adrian Pereira will join back soon. If you're looking into the case of managing changes in career, we can divide into 3 categories. Changes as a how, changes as a what, changes as a why. Changes as a how. How do I get promoted? How do I impose efficiency? How do I improve my value? I think all of us are going through the similar situation. How do I get promoted? Whatever the quality that I have now, is it sufficient enough to get promoted to the next level? Or do I need to add more values to make it sure that the management is noticing the capability of individuals, to make it sure that it is a time to promote him into the next level? So how do I improve my efficiency? The question of efficiency, that is, it is something like a continuous process. We need to look into the efficiency day by day. We need to do something to make it sure that we are up to the level of the day. And nowadays, we know very well, the new generation is much smarter compared to the oldies. That is not.
Yes, sir. Yes, Mr. Pereira, now we can see you. Hello? So you can continue.
God morning मैं कौन करेगा?
Pereira, sir, can you hear? Pereira, sir, you can continue.
And you are reading, the instructions are given to you. How much you have to read. Whatever you have to read.
We can't hear you. Your voice is not coming. We can see you, sir. We can see you, but your voice is not coming.
Hello.
Yeah. You're audible. Now you're audible, sir. Hello?
कनेक्ट नहीं होता है किसी और का फोन आया तो कभी ये होता है। मम्मी तो कनेक्ट ही नहीं हो रहा।
You can continue, sir.
ऑडिबल मम्मी जिसने जैसे चालू का गुड मॉर्निंग मैम अरे चुप रहो आप ठीक है बोले
Sir, your voice, we can't hear you, sir. We can't hear you. We can't hear you, Mr. Prera.
Apologies for the technical glitches.
Yeah, now we can hear you, sir.
Presentations, back plan, and how
इसको भी आवाज आ रही है इसमें आवाज आ रही है तुझे ठीक नहीं आ पा रही है इसमें आवाज क्यों नहीं आ पा रही है इसमें आवाज नहीं आ रही है
we are not able to understand what would happen after this pandemic situation. Would things really come back to normalcy, or it will remain able to? Are we able to accept and adopt changes? Maybe being excellent in the domain knowledge for a teacher today, it's not just okay at these times. They need to understand and wisely use technology to use the same in terms of imparting knowledge more impactfully with less distraction of technical flaws. Do we have a plan like we did have right now to switch over in terms of a technical difficulty? Let me ask you a question. Let's say you are prepared with one of the best PowerPoint slides for an online class. Suddenly, before the start of the class, you realize there is some technical issue, maybe an internet issue, or maybe a broadband issue. Are you ready to take that class, or would you like to postpone the class? And if you postpone, what impact will it have on the students? This is where one needs to be prepared with online ice-breaking activities and how well you are able to deliver the same content without slides in online classroom, maybe by using a telephone conference, maybe giving assignments, maybe giving MCQs, multiple choice questions, online games, maybe a business simulation, so that the class time doesn't go waste due to a technical glitch. Well, today's generation students enjoy and appreciate activity-based sessions, anything beyond the four walls of the classroom lectures, since they are more tech savvy and have exposure to advanced technologies. Blended way was always there, but now there's a shift towards computer-based learning. So today, a faculty role is not just limited to just teaching. Since the higher education, the role demands for faculty to be a friend and a facilitator of knowledge, a friend who can understand students' technical and emotional concerns and build a better connect to make them confident to adjust with the online classes at ease and promptness. Now, since this has disrupted the normal routine for everyone, and we hear a lot about the new normal, well, such disruptions may happen again in future, since man is exploiting nature in ruthless ways. There is still not much substantial evidence if this disease is being spread from animal to human or it's just limited to human. Being prepared for such anticipated changes is a success to hold during such trying times. Maybe boon for a prepared set of community and bane for others. But for sure, it will affect teaching community. Well, offline mode of teaching has its own benefit. Offline mode cannot be written off completely. Bricks and mortar work will remain constant, and it will hold a high level of value and significance. Looking at the present exponential increase in cases, we have no clue whether we can switch back to offline classroom mode by even September, November, or maybe late December. Technological adaptation is good at this time, but undoubtedly, it creates a digital divide between students who can afford a laptop and an internet connection versus one who can't. Teachers need to go an extra mile to help and address the concerns of such students. Well, this online teaching has affected our lives in many ways. Now, there is no boundary of time. At times, it becomes very stressful since it has limited our personal and family time. As we are moving into the digital world, students have changed, society has changed. Therefore, teaching and learning has to change. We all are moving towards an intentionally managed change management system. This involves leveraging resources to optimum utilization. Today, everyone is talking about innovative learning techniques and IoT, Internet of Things. No one talks about library learning or maybe textbook learning. Technology doesn't define the quality of education. In 21st century, as we progress, a good learning can become great learning by leveraging technologies today. We have to consciously develop and imbibe a culture of change. Higher education institutions are dealing constantly with shifting market conditions, technologies, parents and students' demands, competition, and input costs. Change is usually accompanied by uncertainty, poor communication, power plays, and chaos. But there are ways to manage changes successfully. Are we prepared for the change? That is where we talk about vision building, communicating the change to our people, involve the team members in decision making so that they can help us a long way in terms of understanding and communicating that to the stakeholders, the students, their parents. In the education sector, we have built systems that are not adaptable or resilient, that are more than 50 years old. High level of infrastructure may not be adaptable to change easily. Faculty have not dealt with such environment earlier. that demand for certain discipline is going to decline. Maybe in case there would be certain new disciplines that might suddenly shoot up. So universities need to be flexible and adaptable in the way they deploy resources. There is a sea change which we have never experienced before. It will indeed increase the operating cost and will happen to that will happen to the infrastructure, the huge buildings, the administrative blocks if we go online when we don't have students on campus. The ones that will do best are the ones who are developed systems that are more resilient and adaptable today. Now, the success of an university depends on how well they are able to leverage their human capital, that is, the faculty for better student experience. Most universities have already started developing hybrid systems for online platforms. Students may think of taking admission on online education mode. Well, executive MBAs and distance education are already a great success. This is a time wherein a faculty needs to engage more with the students by creating a need for self-directed learning. And for that, it has to be a high impact that teacher is transferring onto the students so that they are connected with the teacher and they gain more respect. Faculty needs to abridge the course syllabus to make them more effective online. Being patient and disciplined while taking classes creates a seriousness and connect with the students. Every faculty needs to think today like visionaries who can think beyond maybe 5 to 10 years from now, what will be the kind of workforce that will be required, and likewise create a space for rather than trying solutions for present, we should be focused on progressive leadership at management level. This is what we are able to relate to the story. Was the grandson of the hat seller prepared? Did he have a procedure that would work in today's scenario and maybe 5 years from now? This is the best time to do research and develop the knowledge base for faculty and students. You can engage students with research-based assignments. Well, what qualifies one to be a good teacher today? With the online teaching mode, there is a decline in understanding human values, emotions, personal touch with the students. Some qualities like understanding their IT emotions, very important today. You never know the person, the student, if he's able to access you, hear you properly, or if the words are breaking because of a technical issue, or maybe it can be with the peripheral issue, the system issue, the netiquettes, just to avoid the misuse of IT. Students with all this should be able to respect their teachers online, offline. The sessions need to be more impactful to avoid boredom. What is the value creation that I am adding during this pandemic season? This is what we need to ask ourselves. Are we ready to take on classes and understand everyone's psyche and then able to deliver what is required? If you talk about IIM Ahmedabad, which is known for their faculty pool, not just their building, a self-developed faculty develops students, making them employable, making them industry ready, enhancing campus placements, further enhancing the alumni network, and in turn, the society as a whole. And ultimately, the institute brand is built. This year, there has been certain decline or withdrawal of offer letters during placement season. Industry wants students who are eager and have adopted work from home skills. That's again a new thing that is coming up now. So are we all geared up for that? Good verbal communicators with analytical bent of mind in market research, HR, or finance, or maybe varied set of specializations. Do they really know how to draw interferences? Do they understand behavioral sciences, data analytics, market trends, forecasting, technical know-how. Do they have that expertise? Opportunities are shrinking due to high market volatility. Organizations want student managers who are day one performers. There is no training period given to a fresher and even to an experienced person who joins today. As Mr. Darwin puts through his theory, the survival of the fittest. Well, today, the corporates are retaining student managers who are the best and better than the rest. While preparing for placement, it's always best to keep students updated with the latest domain knowledge, skill sets required during the crisis situation, being tactful during these times. Better to give them enough online supplementary notes, MCQ assessments may be conducted on a regular basis to understand their in terms knowledge in terms of transfer of training or maybe transfer of teaching that has happened. So getting back, when we talk about the placement, there has been a lot of withdrawal of letters, maybe because of this pandemic situation. How will you make students employable at this trying time? We need to devise smart training modules for placement that should include career counseling, SWOT analysis of students, career mapping, what kind of vacancy is available, and what kind of roles have been outdated. There's a high need of new technological, maybe business intelligence coming in, maybe people require new set of skills. Aptitude test, psychometric test, wherein a lot of reasoning tests, if they are conducted, that is really good in terms of placing the students. A lot of mock interview sessions, do's and don'ts in interview, and at this time, attending virtual interviews. How to attend a virtual interview? That again is becoming a challenge, right? It's very important to train them. We could have online group discussions, just a minute sessions, and obviously to add to the hat, it is always better to have certain value added certification training programs, Six Sigma, or maybe in business intelligence, business analytics. It's always good. So just to sum up today's session, I have few takeaway for you. The very first thing, a change in the purpose of learning. The course of learning and the way curriculums are taught may change. Aspect that one were considered fundamental to education may be revised to largely accommodate life skills of the future. Not just careers, but residents of the future will require skills like resilience, adaptability, collaboration, communication, empathy, creativity, and emotional intelligence. Learning in schools will have a new purpose, and it will be a major deviation from the information focused education of today. The second thing as a takeaway which you can keep is the utilization of innovative
I think again there is a technical glitch. In the meantime, I'll request participants to put their questions so that we can take your questions at the end. So if you have any questions, please put in the chat box so that we can take one by one. So we have Anil Kumar Srivastava. He is asking, is the education system and the teachers capable of coping with the change? Very good question, Mr. Anil Kumar Srivastava. Of course, the teachers as of now, they are almost all of them are well equipped with the digital world. Maybe a few of them are from the old generation, but most of these institutions, they are organizing training sessions for them, and the technical people are helping them to perform better. So this digital world, see, they have to only impart their knowledge, and for
Hello?
imparting their knowledge,
Hello?
technical
Yes.
people are helping them.
Okay. Yeah. I'm deeply sorry for the technical glitch again. It's frequently kicking me out of this program, right? So coming back to the takeaways, the very first takeaway that I spoke is a change in terms of the purpose of learning. And the second is the utilization of innovative methods of education. So when we look at the disruption that we have faced today, we find there's a rapid innovative techniques that we need to understand. Maybe we need to understand the usage of technologies. It can be Zoom, it can be Google Classroom, it can be Teams. So we need to understand this, but mind you, the technology will not be an hindrance in terms of imparting education. Learning is the acquisition of knowledge, but it doesn't have to solely occur through age-old methods that do not utilize the highest potential of the brain. Instead of being taught, can students be given an experience that influences their learning? This is where I spoke about the self-learning techniques. Approaches like integrated learning and experiential learning with greater implementation of technology will the future of the education in higher education will increase. The third takeaway, which I think today is a tighter relationship with the technology, wherein we spoke about all these pandemic situations. And since we have technology, thanks to this, which is actually a major lifesaver at this time, communication is a major key to our interconnected existence. And technology is the driving force that maintains our connection. For education, that means creating content and delivery systems that harness and utilize technology to its fullness. Perhaps education may become more flexible and accessible over rigid structures. Additionally, the current generation of school students and the higher management students are generation X and Alpha. They are generation that are defined by their use of technology. They have already created a distinct wave. They understand technology much faster compared to the earlier generation. It has become an extension of their consciousness, and they do not know a world without it. For them, everything is Google now. Most of the students I've seen, rather than referring to a textbook, they find Googling it is better and easy for them. But again, it might give them a glance information till the time they are able to research further and get into the actual facts of the topic that they are looking for. The future of education will find no room to ignore the utilization of technology, since it may very well be the best platform to empower learning in an age that is integrating technology as a way of life. A focus on bigger issues. How will we ask students to go back a way of life that compromises their physiological emotions and mental health? Will we teach students about protecting the environment while asking them to sit in buses that move through traffic and leave a large carbon footprint? The world could require a different focus tomorrow than it is today. Perhaps education post COVID-19 will embrace learnings from science and emphasize a greater focus on issues that endanger our health, society, life, and earth. COVID-19 may have been the catalyst for a change that has been long pending. Perhaps the world may never go back to what it was pre pandemic, but we can count on it to adapt to the future. This I am happy.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay.
All right. So, sir, if you're able to hear me, we can go on to the question and answer round.
Yeah, sir, we have two questions from Mr. Anil Kumar Srivastava. What he says, whether our teachers are capable of going to the new system, number one. Number two question is, from work from home, whether we can do all the jobs possible. So these two questions is from Anil Kumar Srivastava.
Sure. I'm glad that Aviral has posted this question. So thank you so much, Dr. Praful, for putting it across. So just to answer the very first thing, teachers today, they are known for their vast knowledge and wisdom, right? Most
Yes.
of them are already having a good expertise on technology, right? So it is that we are all getting used to and picking up all these technology. It can be usage of Zoom, it can be usage of Google Classroom. So the infrastructure needs to be better. We need to have sufficient backup for that. And I'm sure the teachers are there who are able to understand the need of the hour, and they will definitely pick up, and they would actually create that kind of I mean, say, the value creation, right? As I said in one of my topic in the presentation, the technology would not be a hindrance in terms of wisdom or maybe a knowledge sharing, right? The essence of knowledge would still remain the same, right? But the best part is how well we are able to utilize the technology. The beauty lies there, right? So does that answer that question, Dr. Praful, the first question?
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Perfect.
Thank you. And moving on to the second question, work from home. Well, we never anticipated this, probably by start of this year also, but it was forced onto us. So now when we talk about change management, one is there happens a lot of innovative ideas, innovation, when it becomes a necessity or maybe a need of the hour, right? As
Correct.
I said in few, I mean, my placement, when I was covering about placement employment part, I'd mentioned most of the positions or roles that you find today, maybe they have to be changed in terms of job descriptions, wherein they want this is actually a skill that needs to be developed, maybe in terms of verbal communication, written communication, and how to deal with clients, right? So now the office has gone much beyond the four walls of the real infrastructure, the physical office.
We are facing some technical glitches. Please bear with us. Yes, sir. Hello.
My apologies again. Are you able to hear me, sir?
Yeah. Yes, it is there. So you can conclude your answer, sir.
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you. Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, now it is better. I'm apologetic for this, all this.
Sir, no issue.
I'm not sure what is going wrong because I'm using a proper
No issue, sir.
broadband.
Maybe. But
But we
same
have to
issue.
face this. That's what, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So the second question, was I able to answer that?
Yeah. It was perfect, sir. So we have two more questions. One is on the infrastructure. The institution have to invest in different infrastructure for doing this needful. And second one is very pertinent, which we are facing now. It says that in sitting in Noida and Delhi, we are facing this technical glitches. What about people living in rural area? How they will cope up with this type of teaching? Whether they'll be able to join or there will be issues for them. So there are these two questions. Sir.
Thank you so much, sir, for this. Very first thing, if you recall, I spoke about digital divide. When we talk about digital divide, the very first thing that comes into our mind is the affordability. There has been times wherein the student and the parent, if they have to take an admission in for a higher education, right, they are actually taking in a lot of money from their savings, or maybe they'll have to go for loan just to gain the education. But did they plan this, that they had to even afford a laptop or maybe a high speed internet connection today? So the question is affordability, and people who are able to afford this would definitely benefit, right? But again, there are a lot of cases wherein misuse of IT has also come across. But if you go through the cyber crime, all these people are getting better, but the only thing is the things have been used in the right judicious manner, right? But when we talk about infrastructure, we have to invest in terms of having enough infrastructure, right? Even the bandwidth as a country as a whole, obviously we'll have to look at a better infrastructure. And second part that what I got to know is reaching out to maybe rural areas. So I would say when we speak about reaching out to rural areas in terms of electricity, probably it has been only 2 years wherein I would say maybe 96% of India is having electricity, right? And now it has to be a conscious decision. It has to be taken from all the angles, the government, the bureaucrats, how they want to develop their local cities, states, right? So the DMs, the state chief ministers, they need to figure out ways so that they can make sure every person is getting a high quality internet connection. It is possible, but the only thing is, are we planned for it? Is there a vision for it? Or we are only focusing only at maybe urban, and that too at a certain, even in urban areas, we find what you said is correct. Greater Noida. Right now I'm in Ghaziabad. I'm using one of the best known, I will not name the provider though, right?
Yes, sir.
Internet connection, and still we are facing this problem. I never anticipated, right?
Correct.
So yes, there is a lot of conscious effort that has to be done at expense. That is why I even mentioned the operating cost, the input cost at every level would increase with this online initially investment. Maybe buying a laptop, it's a one time cost, and second would be that it is maintenance. But we need to have a internet, which is again adding on to the bill. But at the same time, if the person is not using the infrastructure, I'm not sure how the schools are able to manage. I think they are not taking the transport fees and certain relaxation, if that can be passed on to students in a way, right? So does that answer the question, Dr. Praful?
Yeah, fine, sir. Sir, I'll add here. In fact, a lot of work has already been done on digitization. In fact, some of my friends are working in income tax, in GST. Now, see, direct interaction with the customer is minimal. Everything is through digitized mode. They submit their returns and the officials verify, and it goes through digital way only. Earlier in income tax and in service tax, earlier in place of GST, it was a cumbersome process. So this digitization has really changed the life for them, and it has become easier. Sir, my last question, it is from my side.
Please.
For exposure to the laptop or mobile continuously using, will it not affect the eyes or the health of the students as well as the faculty? So what do you suggest? What shall be the solution for it?
Okay. So you have asked actually a very valid question, and this question I think had been posted by lot of school-going kids' parents to even the Supreme Court, right? That if they have 8 hours of class, do you think the screen time that they're spending 8 hours plus, maybe they might be playing, using for their own enjoyment also, isn't it hindering or their health? So obviously the answer is excess usage of anything is bad for health. Ultimately, what are we using this for? We need to figure out our judicious use of technology. And again, when we talk about internet broadband today, there's a fair usage policy. Is it that I alone want to enjoy 8 hours of usage? Maybe I might be using the broadband of somebody who might be requiring it the most. So we need to understand, we need to have a schedule in place wherein, yes, maybe on a single day, I'll spend max to max 2 hours or maybe 3 hours, and that too again taking enough breaks in between, right? Because we are all adjusting to a new culture, new thing wherein things are going digital. But is our body also adjusting? How fast we are adjusting? That again is a question of today, right? But as I said, youngsters today, they have already enhanced, they understand the system technology much faster than maybe our generation. That is what I would sum up it with, right?
Yes, sir. In fact, I was going through the newspaper a few days back. There is a guideline from the government that up to primary level, it is 1.5 hour. Up to class 8, it is 3 hours. And for up to 12th, it is maximum 4 hours in a day. So it should not be more exposure for the school going students. For college going students, there is no guideline as such as of now. So there is a guideline already in place.
Yes.
So,
Thanks
sir,
to Dr. Naresh Pokral, who
Yes, sir.
lately realized when parents were putting in the complaint, they
Correct.
realized the need to frame this policy, which came as a pragyatam, if I recall correctly. The revision
Correct.
wasn't done on 10th of July. 10th of July.
Correct, sir. It was there in the newspapers.
So we never, envisaged that this kind of problem can also occur, right? So when we are having, we are visioning something new, we need to have countermeasures also,
Certainly, certainly, sir.
right? Yeah.
So thanks a lot, sir, for sparing your time, and a lot of valuable things we have taken from you. Your takeaways were really beneficial to all of us. And in last, I will invite you for your concluding remarks, if you want, sir.
So thank you so much, sir, Dr. Praful, Dr. Saju, and all the participants today for listening to me so patiently. My again heartfelt apologies for all the technical glitches, which is beyond my control. I wish we could have met face to face, probably post the COVID. If we can plan out some session, I would love to come and interact with you all so that I can
Certainly, sir.
share my experience with you. Right? Thank you so much
Certainly, sir.
again. Thank you so much, sir. Appreciate it. Yep.
Thanks a lot. And for participant, that's it for today. Tomorrow at 11:30, we'll start again. Thanks a lot for joining us. Good day to all of you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Appreciate it.